Oh, hey there. Come on in. We're just about to start. Welcome to My Wife the Dietitian, a fun weekly podcast about nutrition and healthy lifestyle. I'm Rob, and together with my wife Sandra, we invite you to join us on this informative and entertaining journey through the complex world of healthy eating.
Join us each week as we strive to help you with transforming your overall health and relationship with food through up-to-date, evidence-based nutrition information. Fiber, fiber, fiber. Is it from an animal or a plant? Do we eat enough? How can this non-nutrient in our daily intake actually help our health to be better? It's not just for the toilet. Fiber is a key element to improve our body's function. Stay tuned for today's discussion on easy ways to get more fiber in your diet.
Enjoying the show? You can help others find it and enjoy it too by giving us a 5-star rating or review. If you feel like reaching out to us with a question or comment, you can send us an email at mywifetherd@gmail.com. And don't forget to visit our website at mywifethedietitian.com, as well as our social media pages. We're on Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube. Enjoy the show. Welcome to My Wife the Dietitian. Hello, Sandra.
Hello, Rob.
How are you today?
I'm great. How are you?
I'm good.
Good, good. We're going to talk about easy ways to get more fiber in your diet.
Oh, well, that's, I bet I could bang off a few.
I bet you could.
We've talked about fiber a lot.
We have, actually. You're right.
But apparently you can't talk about it enough.
No, I know. We're going to talk about what it is, why we need it, what it can do in our body to help prevent different conditions and diseases.
Mm-hmm.
And the fact that most people do not get their required amount and ways to increase it.
There you go. I gave someone a fig the other day, and after they ate it, they're like, apparently these are really good, like lots of fiber, and they're good for like keeping you regular. And I'm like, yep. And she says, oh, now you tell me. I'm like, yeah, well, it's, most fruit has fiber in it. Most fruit is fiber, it's, but it was pretty funny, her reaction. It's like, oh, it's too late. It's already on its way through.
Yeah, that's true. And it's funny that you say that because fruit is fiber. And there's been, different diets in the past where it's like demonizing fruit, like whole fruit. Oh, no, you can't have a banana because it's too high in carbohydrates. And I shake my head.
Yeah, I know. Like people think because it has sugar in it, you can't eat it. And it's not the same as having added sugar in your food, and there's all sorts of crazy ideas out there about not eating specific things, usually some sort of fruit or vegetable. And yeah and really we need more fiber. Like most people need to increase their fiber, and one of the best ways to do it is eating vegetables and fruits in their whole like
forms.
Not juicing them. I mean, juice is okay, but eating the entire fruit is going to be way more beneficial, because if you juice something, you don't get the fiber.
Exactly. Right? A lot of times. Yeah.
You're getting all the sugar.
If you think of squeezing an orange, how much juice do you get out of that?
Yeah, you need to squeeze about 10 oranges to get a glass full of orange juice.
Exactly.
That's a lot of sugar.
Each, like mandarin orange, for instance, has like a sugar cube of sugar just in it.
Mm-hmm.
And then so if you eat the orange, you get all the fiber and the nutrition. But if you just squeeze the juice out of it, you have to squeeze about 8 oranges to get a cup of juice, and you're getting 8 sugar cubes of sugar and throwing away the fiber.
Yeah, drinking juice doesn't count as eating vegetables. I don't think that counts as eating like your fruit and vegetable for the day. And I'm saying that because I used to do that. I thought, oh, I'll have a glass of like V8 because it says on the label it's got like 5 fruits and vegetables or whatever, and that'll be my serving of vegetables for the day. So I'll just have a couple glasses of that and I'm good. But no, it doesn't work that way.
No, it's not. I think that's the problem with our modern society is everybody's in such a hurry, and we're adding different
quick fixes, kind of, yeah, supplemental forms of real food.
Yeah, like buying the powdered fiber supplement and adding it to food, whereas we can just eat real food and get the benefits of that fiber.
Yeah, eat real food.
Now, you know what fiber is?
Like the scientific definition?
Yeah.
Is that what you mean?
Well, no, not the scientific definition, but where does fiber come from? Is there fiber in beef?
Oh,
chicken?
It comes from plant foods. Is that what you're trying to say?
That's right. It only comes from plant foods,
right.
Not animals. And it's the indigestible part of plant foods.
Okay.
So we don't really get any nutrition per se, right?
Right. But it helps sort of flush out our system. It's like a little, I don't know how to describe it. It's like a little, I don't know. I don't want to confuse people with my crazy explanation, but I understand it. I just can't explain it.
Okay. Well, yeah, exactly. The insoluble fiber it cleanses your colon because it like scrubs it's the indigestible part of plant foods. So
it's like it's like the food version of Drano.
Not quite, but
I mean,
it
does the same thing, right? But it's in a natural state that the fiber kind of goes through and pushes everything, cleans its way out and scrubs and all that stuff on its way through.
Yeah. And actually, you know what it does? It can help prevent colon cancer because of that.
Oh, is that right?
Yeah.
Well, that makes sense.
It reduces the risk of colon cancer. It can help reduce constipation.
Yeah, obviously.
Because it increases the transit of the stool.
Mm-hmm.
So if you have something that's got lots of insoluble fiber, which is the skins, the peels, the seeds of vegetables and fruits,
right,
that will increase the transit of the stool. So you're not having the waste product sitting around your intestines for long periods.
I think every time we talk about this, I sort of think of the body as in terms of like your kitchen sink's plumbing system and all of the things that sort of jam up the plumbing and then kind of how you fix it. So it's similar. I mean, if you can sort of wrap your head around it that way, it is kind of similar. And this is keeping your system running smooth. Because you know what it's like when your sink backs up and nothing gets drained and, there's all these things in there that clog it up. And so your body's similar. I mean, it functions in a similar way. And then the fiber is what goes through your system and cleans it all out so that things flow the way they're supposed to. Exactly.
And when you said clog it up, so it can reduce the incidence of hemorrhoids. So, because the clogging up, it when you're pushing and you're trying to get that stool out, sorry, this is very graphic, but if you don't have enough fiber in your stool, it's not bulky, it's not
loose.
Yeah, exactly. Mm-hmm. That's right. And then that also affects diverticulitis. So that's a condition where we did a whole episode on that. It's where you have outpouchings and you get something stuck in there and it's inflamed and infected, and it's the diverticula that get infected. So it's diverticulitis. And if people have enough fiber in their diet for most of their life, that helps to prevent diverticulitis, which is on the rise in our society because we aren't getting enough fiber.
Right. Interesting. Do you think we've ever had enough fiber? Do you think like at one time we all had enough fiber and now things are becoming more packaged foods that we're eating, our diet has changed to the point where we're not getting the fiber we used to?
Yes.
Interesting. Okay.
Americans have long been fascinated by fiber. Back in the 1820s and 1830s, a minister named Sylvester Graham preached about the virtues of fiber. And in the 1870s, Dr. John Kellogg went on a fiber crusade at a health sanatorium in Battle Creek, Michigan.
Crazy.
Convinced that many of our health problems can be traced to the poisons in the bowels, he fed all his patients bran. And in 1897, a fiber cereal called grape nuts, possibly the first successful commercial health food, was developed by Charles W. Post. Post cereal. Right?
Oh,
Post.
interesting. Yeah, yeah.
Although throughout this 20th century, numerous scientists and lay people have echoed the early claims made for fiber. It wasn't until the 1970s that we began accumulating hard scientific data to prove that large amounts of fiber are indeed necessary for good health. Key discoveries began in Africa when a British physician noticed a marked difference between the stool of rural Africans who ate a very high fiber diet and that of the British who did not. The African stool was almost twice as heavy as the British and tended to be softer and more fluid. Knowing that Africans did not suffer from hemorrhoids, diverticulitis, colon cancer, appendicitis, constipation, and other Western diseases of the gastrointestinal tract, the observant doctor began to investigate the link between fiber and health. Thanks to the early enthusiasm of Graham, Kellogg, and Post, and the modern research conducted over the past 25 or so years, we now know that large amounts of dietary fiber are absolutely essential for good health. Dietary fiber is composed of various substances found in the walls of plant cells, which the body cannot digest. As I said, the indigestible part of plant foods. Fiber has absolutely no nutritional value in and of itself. It simply goes in and comes out. Despite that fact, fiber is a powerfully medicinal food.
Interesting, hey?
Yeah. So some of the functions that fiber has in terms of our health is it absorbs the water in the intestines and makes you poop. We talked about that. So it increases the volume and softens the stool. So it helps with preventing constipation. It helps to bulk up the stool so that you have a healthy bowel movement.
Mm-hmm.
The second thing it does, because of that, it reduces your risk of colon cancer.
Right.
It can also prevent heart disease, gallbladder disease, cholesterol, like high cholesterol, and it helps with blood pressure.
How is it related to the heart function? Because everyone says, like fiber is so good for heart, but how is it related?
That's a good question. So there's two types of fiber. The insoluble that we mentioned already, it's kind of goes through you, increases the transit of the stool. It's in the seeds and the skins and the peels.
Mm-hmm.
And the soluble, which is why it helps cholesterol and blood sugars. So the soluble, actually, you think of it as sopping up the cholesterol. It's like a sponge.
Okay.
And then it takes it to the liver to dispose of.
Interesting.
So
it's going through you as well.
Yeah.
The same way the insoluble fiber is, but it's has a different purpose.
That's right. And they're in the same package of food. Like package as in, if we're talking, say, about an orange or an apple. So an apple has insoluble in the peel and soluble in the pectin, like in the meat of the apple.
Right.
So most foods have both soluble and insoluble in them. And when we eat that food, the soluble has the function of helping our cholesterol and helping the blood sugar control. It helps reduce blood sugar rise. And the insoluble, like the peel, helps to...
It
goes in and out.
That's the roughage. Yeah.
Exactly.
Okay. That's like the scrubber. Do you remember the Magic School Bus? That kid's like sort of science-y cartoon?
Totally.
I can picture like an episode. I don't know if this is actual real episode or if this is just my crazy brain working again, but I can picture the Magic School Bus being the fiber and like going through your system and like doing its job and explaining how it all works and collecting things and helping it all exit. And the Magic School Bus being that kind of little scrubber that goes through you, the fiber kind of. Yeah,
absolutely. I remember that. It's a good example of like how it works and the, And the one thing that we didn't mention, the fifth function is it helps you be full, satiety. So that helps with weight control. It's hard to overeat a lot of fiber. Because it bulks up in your stomach.
Yeah, and you feel it.
Exactly. It makes you feel full.
Like when I eat a lot of like nuts, like just handfuls and handfuls of nuts, like you feel it, like you feel like you got this rock in your stomach because it takes a while to digest that, and it piles up pretty quick, and you're just like, ugh.
Yeah. It's better to have a handful of nuts, like not a lot, like sitting there and eating a whole bag. Just because it's better to have your fiber in, leafy green. Well, let's talk about this. Let's talk about how we can get more fiber in. Oh, that excerpt that I read about the history of fiber came from a book by Gabe Merkin and Diana Merkin. It's a husband and wife team.
Oh, okay.
Gabe Merkin is a MD, and he's written a lot of books on fiber. And Diana Merkin is his wife, and she does a lot of recipes to help.
A lot of fiber-based recipes, I'm guessing?
Yes, and flavorful recipes that help with heart disease and prevention of cancer.
Perfect.
So how much fiber do adults need? Because I know we're low. Most people, like average is like 10 grams, 5, 10, maybe
it's
15
like
grams.
30 to 40 or something, isn't it? It's different for men and women, right? Is that the one that's different?
Yeah, about 25 to 30, even 25 to 35 would be a good amount to aim for.
Sure. Can you get too much fiber?
What do you think?
I mean, what your answer would be it's better to get a balanced diet instead of loading up on fiber. It's better to like eat a little bit less fiber and keep it in the normal range and fill yourself up with other things.
What would happen if you ate too much fiber?
You'd never leave the bathroom.
Right. Yeah. It might affect your quality of life.
True.
Yeah. So, yeah. And if you...
But it's not... I mean, I'm just thinking from a health standpoint, like, should someone be worried? It's like, oh my God, I had 3 apples today. Should I be worried? Is it gonna hurt me in any way?
No.
I didn't think so. But yeah, it's not... You'll know it if you eat too much fiber.
Yeah. With with fiber, especially like if you do tend to not eat enough fiber and you know that, and you want to increase your amount of fiber, slow and low. So you basically add a low amount slowly. So gradually increasing the amount of fiber.
So your body gets used to it?
Yes.
I see. Okay.
Yeah. It's just like beans, right?
Right.
And we did a whole episode on beans. Beans are good for your heart. And that was...
It was like 42 or something like that.
Yeah, exactly. Episode 42.
Wow.
That's amazing.
They're good for your memory too.
Yeah, I guess so, because you do eat beans a lot. And then episode 17 we talked about was the episode on fiber that we've done in the past.
Yeah.
What's the scoop poop?
Right.
Okay. Oh, and we did an episode on diverticulosis versus diverticulitis, episode 80. People should check that out if they have any questions about that condition, because that's a really thorough episode on that.
Yeah, I remember that because I had a lot of questions because they're very similar, and yeah, it's a good explanation of how all those conditions work and are related.
Yeah, and it's amazing over the last 25 years as working as a dietitian with clients, I've definitely seen the rise in that condition in younger and younger people. And a lot of it is just not enough fiber in our diet.
Yeah, exactly.
There's a rule of thumb for kids. So, because obviously kids, 25 to 35 grams of fiber a day would be a lot for their little bodies. And so over the age of 3, it's the rule of 5. So age plus 5 is the rule. Age plus 5.
Oh, okay.
So over the age of 3. So for instance, a 3-year-old, 3 plus 5 would have 8 grams of fiber.
Okay.
That would be okay, and that's a good amount.
And that's per day.
Yeah.
Right.
A 10-year-old, so 10 plus 5.
That'd be 15 grams of fiber.
You got it. There you go. So that's for kids. If we're talking about anybody under 18, age plus 5.
Yeah, that's a good little formula.
Yeah. And then that helps with making sure that they're getting fiber too.
I like it.
Yeah. And that's, what we're going to talk about next is ways to get fiber. And maybe we'll divide it into like different meals, because people, you can eat breakfast for dinner, of course, but that's a good way to frame it, like how to get more fiber in at breakfast.
Okay. Well, right off the bat, I'd say whole wheat toast instead of white. If you're a toast person,
Yeah,
whole wheat is going to have fiber, whereas white doesn't have any fiber. Is that correct?
that's correct.
Yeah.
Refined.
So you're getting zero fiber.
Refined white flour is what a lot of products are made out of. So even some like 12 grain bread could be made with white flour. So that would be their first ingredient on the label.
Mm-hmm.
And they might have sprinkled grains in there. So you look at that label, and we did an episode on label reading.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. You really have to read the ingredients a lot of times, not just the nutrition facts.
Yeah, episode 9 was on food labels. And so looking at the first ingredient. So a lot of rye bread, pumpernickel, oatmeal bread even, the first ingredient is white flour, all-purpose flour.
Right. And the first ingredient is what it has the most of.
You got
goes in terms of the most is the first ingredient and the least is the last ingredient.
That's right.
I don't know if that's obvious, but
Yeah. And then when you go down on the nutrition facts label, you look down under carbohydrates and it says dietary fiber. You want to have 2 grams of fiber or more per serving.
right. And that's a good amount.
Yeah. So if it's made with white flour as the first ingredient, it probably will have 1 gram of fiber per slice or less. You know, basically you won't get that 2 grams of fiber per serving.
Mm-hmm.
So there might be breads that you're like, no, it's a 12 grain bread. It's great. But look at that label. It might be deceiving. And then number one, the first ingredient listed might be white flour.
Yeah, white flour.
Yeah. And a lot of snack products, so crackers and bagels and cookies, they're made with white flour.
Yeah, they totally are. And yeah, like Sandra's saying, you got to be careful of those health claims too. They'll make it seem like it's really healthy by saying, I don't know what, you know, they'll highlight
Made with grains,
yeah,
they might say, but you want high fiber and whole grains. So you want to see more fiber in that nutrition label.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah, what I've noticed, if the box is like really flashy and it's got, you know, like a lot of claims on it, it's probably not that healthy. If it's like on the bottom shelf and it's really boring looking, that's probably the healthiest one.
And the produce section's a really good place to get fiber-rich foods, like, right?
Exactly. I'll mention something else too about whole wheat bread. I remember when I was a kid many years ago, whole wheat bread was... It was kind of like, you know, compared to white bread. White bread was like soft and chewy, and whole wheat bread was just, it wasn't that tasty. And that's why a lot of people didn't like eating it, especially kids. Whole wheat bread nowadays is a completely different game. It's the same and it's almost better. Like there's flavor to it. It's chewy. They figured out how to make it tasty. So if you haven't had whole wheat bread in years because you think it's nasty, try it again because it's really, really good. There's a ton of different options out there for whole wheat bread nowadays, and it's, in my opinion, it's very similar to white bread as far as the texture and all the things that people like about white bread.
Oh, yeah. I remember whole wheat bread. I remember going to my friends and having Wonder white bread, which was a totally different texture and taste, and it was so delicious. But we actually had whole wheat bread in our family too, or brown bread it was called.
Brown bread.
And then also remember when we talk about plate ratio. So you think of the plate, you want half the plate as vegetables. So even at lunch, if you're having a sandwich, you know, have a salad, have like a good portion of your plate or your bowl as vegetables or fruits, and then just a quarter. So it might not be 2 pieces of bread, right? Or that's the whole thing with grains. A lot of people were overeating the grains for so many years. Mm-hmm. And a lot of the grains that people buy are crackers, for instance, like snack crackers, which are white flour or white bread or breads that are like low fiber. So that's the other thing to think about is if we want to increase the quality of our diet, we want to have more vegetables and fruits at each meal and less of the grains.
Even though the grains are fiber, we want to get a better quality fiber. Like we want more of the leafy green kind of fiber and less of the fiber you're getting from bread.
Right. We just want to change the proportion.
Yeah, yeah.
Right? Because it's easy to eat bread at every meal, and we don't need to do that.
Yeah, exactly.
So back to breakfast. Sometimes people combine cereals. This is another idea to increase your fiber. So if you really like, a certain cereal, say Cheerios is your favorite, can you add some Bran Buds or All Bran, or add some fiber-rich cereal to those Cheerios?
What a lot of people do, and that I've seen anyway, is they'll take a big bowl and they'll just fill the bowl to the top with just that one, a big bowl of Shreddies or a big bowl of Cheerios or Flakes or whatever. And so you're suggesting maybe half a bowl of that and then add some Bran Buds to it, or some chopped fruit, or
yeah, that's another thing. Definitely.
Yeah.
That was on the list too, is, berries or chopped fruit.
Because that big bowl of cereal is it's kind of one dimensional.
It's like, think of the plate ratio.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's like your whole plate or your whole bowl.
It's just like noodles with some sauce on it.
Right.
It's nothing else. It's one of those kind of meals.
Yeah.
And it's not the best way to start your day, really. I mean, it might fill you up because there's quantity, but it's not going to last.
They do. I mean, the thing with cereal, most cereals have a good amount of nutrition in terms of there's B6 and magnesium and copper, zinc, calcium, vitamin A. So there's good nutrition in the cereal. And if you can get one that's got more than 2 grams of fiber per serving, that's great. But then you're maybe adding milk to the cereal and then fruit. That would be a really good way to round it out to make it more balanced meal if you're starting your day with cereal.
Yeah. Yeah. And now, being summertime here where we live, is a really good time to get out and get some blackberries or blueberries and freeze them. So in January, you can put some fruit on your cereal.
If they last that long, right?
Yeah. Well, yeah. You buy some to eat now and buy some to save for later.
Yeah. And we did a whole episode on how many plant foods are in your breakfast. Do you remember that one?
Yeah, not too long ago.
Yeah. And so this is another way to get more fiber in your breakfast. If you think of adding, so not just having cereal and milk, but you add some seeds to that, like ground flax seeds or chia seeds or hemp hearts or walnuts, so nuts and seeds, and peanuts. Yeah,
and all the different kinds of nuts, and I really like that combination of textures in my cereal, like the soft and chewy, like raisins or prunes or dates, and then the crunchy from the nuts, and then the different flavors from the berries, and yeah, it's just like this medley of flavor versus a bowl of Cheerios, which to me is just like mono flavor.
It's so easy. I think a lot of people don't think ahead, and they just are busy and they have to get to work or they have to get to school. So they're just doing the easy, quick thing. And that's like cereal and milk, right?
Yeah.
But maybe if you have a combination of these, how you can get those.
They're like a mix.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Of like a muesli mix or something. And even if you think ahead the night before and make an overnight oats, that's another way to do it. So you have the oats, and then ground flax seeds, chia, hemp hearts, and then walnuts and peanuts, maybe cashews.
Yeah, you could put it all in a jar, like prep for the week kind of thing. I've been swearing I'm going to do that one of these days, but I haven't, and I probably never will. But it is a good idea nonetheless.
Yeah, it just makes it easier.
Or like you said, just getting one of those sort of muesli kind of cereals and adding that on top of your bran flakes or whatever your sort of base cereal is.
Yeah. Yeah. So the bottom line here basically is increase the variety of plant foods in your breakfast if you can. And that adds fiber. That increases your way to get more fiber. And breakfast is a great way to increase the fiber in your day.
Yeah, in your whole day. Yeah, start off on a good foot.
Yeah, and I do talk to a lot of people that just have eggs every morning, like 7 days a week. Eggs for breakfast, eggs for breakfast. Eggs are great, and they are definitely a way to get protein and some of these essential vitamins and minerals in our diet. But if it's just eggs, you're lacking fiber because remember, fiber comes from plant foods. And so it depends on what you're eating your eggs with. But then also if you're just having eggs and toast, where's the vegetable? Where's the fruit? You know, you think of the plate ratio, and it's not really a balanced breakfast.
Yeah.
So just, you know, thinking about those things as you're making your breakfast. Another thing that can increase your fiber in your breakfast, if you make a smoothie.
All the different things you're putting in your smoothie are often fruit-based, right? Which is going to be a lot of fiber.
Right.
Right? Or fruit, or I mean, you could throw some avocado in there too, frozen avocado.
Yes. That's a really high fiber fruit, vegetable, however.
That's another good thing that pairs well with your eggs too. If you have some avocados, you have your eggs on toast with a little bit of avocado on the side, maybe a bit of, a little handful of arugula, some sliced red pepper or something. You know, it's easy enough to add to that egg. But yeah, smoothies. Yes,
and we did an episode. There's a blog post on the website, avocado smoothie.
Oh, right.
And it's so good. And yeah, definitely using avocado, as you said, that's great. And the frozen diced avocado is a great addition for smoothies.
Yeah, exactly. They stay
creamy.
They stay fresh. They're always ready to go.
And figs.
Oh yeah, figs.
Frozen figs in the smoothie.
Love the figs.
Wow. Talk about a boost of fiber. But the taste, creamy and sweet.
Yeah. If you know someone with a fig tree, I think we've talked about this before, but figs they get overripe really quickly. And people with fig trees are like, oh my God, what am I going to do with all these figs? Go knock on their door and say, hey, can I take some of your figs? I'll help you out by taking some of your figs. And just stick them in the freezer as is. And then they're little powerhouses of awesomeness when you go to make a smoothie. They're really sweet and creamy, and yeah, they're amazing.
Yeah, and then actually dehydrated figs too, like cutting them up
good.
And drying them, dehydrating is so good.
Keep them soft though.
They're like raisins.
Yeah,
delicious, but even more flavorful. So yeah, those are some ideas for breakfast. What about with lunch? Say you go to a restaurant and there's a sandwich. Oh, would you like fries or?
Well, I have
salad.
I have a confession. I always get fries because at home I eat salad. I never eat fries ever, except when I'm at a restaurant. So I'll typically get fries. But if I'm, health conscious, I would order a salad because that's going to be more fiber. But is that the answer you're looking for?
Well, I think.
It was an honest answer.
If you're eating out a lot, I've seen this where
true.
Businessmen eat out at lunch a lot of days of the week. They're getting fries every time.
Yeah. They're going to look like they're eating fries all the time.
So yeah, get the side salad. You're going to get the more fiber that way. And with the salad, usually there's other vegetables in that salad. So it's a mixture of fiber-rich veggies.
Exactly. You got it.
What about a snack like hummus and veggies? That's
a great one. I like those, like some of the dips that we make at home here, like the guacamole, which is made with avocados, and then the hummus, which is it's a bean dip, right? Like chickpeas, ground up chickpeas with some garlic and other things in it. So those are both plant-based, fiber-rich dips that you're typically going to dip a vegetable into. So it's almost all fiber.
Yeah.
And it's delicious. It's not like just eating, I got to eat this boring piece of fruit, or this boring vegetable. It's like, it's yummy all of a sudden because you've got this nice dip to go with it. But the dip is not some mayonnaise-based dip. It's actually healthy and fiber and it's all good.
Right. It's a plant-based protein too. So you're getting protein in that hummus because it's made from chickpeas. So it's fiber, it's protein. And that's the thing with if you start having some plant-based meals, what are they typically made out of?
Beans.
Yeah, which give you fiber. It's a lot of soluble fiber. That's why they're so good for your heart. And we did an episode called Beans, They're Good for Your Heart. And that was episode 42 to check in on.
Yeah, it's a good one.
And then episode 5 was cancer prevention. So listen to that one too, because we do talk about fiber in that, because that's the other thing with fiber. It helps with reducing the risk of various cancers, including, as we mentioned, like the GI cancers.
Right, exactly.
Cancer.
Yeah.
So when we're making a meal at home, say a Buddha bowl, you can change the grain to increase the fiber. So instead of white rice, what can you add for a grain?
A different type of grain, I guess, or brown rice, I suppose, would be another option.
What's a different type of grain?
What's it called?
Starts with a Q.
Quinoa. Yeah, that's one I can picture it. I just can't. Yeah, quinoa.
Yeah, exactly.
That's loaded with fiber, right?
It has a good amount of fiber, and it has some protein too. And there's different like bulgur and buckwheat and barley. Those are all B words. And millet, amaranth, couscous, whole wheat couscous, different grains. So these grains are higher in fiber than just the standard white grain, right?
Exactly. Your standard white rice or white pasta. Like all the pastas now too, there's so many different versions of pasta that are better than just the plain white pasta. There's a lot that are made like plant-based pastas, made from chickpeas or lentils or black beans, and they're loaded with protein as well, which you don't get from your regular white pasta. So there's something to check out as well. Yeah,
absolutely. And I think we've talked about, about plate ratio. So if you want, say, about the size of your fist in the amount of pasta with your meal, and then vegetables. So if you think quarter of the plate is the grain, like whole grain, and then half the plate vegetables, and then a quarter plate protein. So that would round out your meal and help you with the balance.
Sounds good.
Back to the salad. What about adding something to the salad?
Yeah, well, I always add
beans.
I always add things like just to make it more interesting,
like chickpeas or like canned beans or lentils.
Yeah, you could do that. There's I usually include some cottage cheese or some chopped vegetables. Oh, there's all sorts of things you could add just to make it more interesting.
Yeah.
Turn it into more of a meal. I put nuts on my salad too, which is fiber and a little bit of extra texture. And
hemp hearts, the seeds would be good too. So those are all ways to increase the fiber. If you're having yogurt, add nuts and seeds and fruit to the yogurt. If you want a snack, choose like apple, for instance, has the pectin, the soluble fiber, and the insoluble fiber from the skin. Or popcorn is actually very high fiber snack. Whole grain crackers, and you can dip those in the hummus. So looking at the label and trying to get 2 grams of fiber per serving in the crackers. So like Triscuits is a good example, or the Wassa, the rye crisps, have more fiber. So those are all ways to increase the fiber in your diet.
Absolutely. So there you go. Some ideas for staying healthy, keeping your heart healthy, keeping your system moving. Something we all need to think about. If you want more information, check out our website. There's lots of great blog articles on there. It's mywifethedietitian.com. If you have questions about the show, anything you want us to talk about, anything you don't understand, you need us to sort of get a little deeper explanation, anything like that, we're happy to answer listeners' questions. And we love hearing your feedback as well. So feel free to reach out to us. Our email is mywifetherd@gmail.com. You can also find us on the internet. We are on social media, Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube. Great way to connect with us as well through those platforms. We love hearing your feedback as well, so don't forget to rate and review the show. That's super helpful to us. It's also super helpful for other people looking for a show to watch or to listen to, I guess. They'll read your review and make their decision based on what they read, and hopefully it's nice. Nice comments are always welcome. You can also join our newsletter. It's a weekly newsletter we send out every week, and some great information there. There's some recipes, there's some different tips, there's some just information on what's coming up, that sort of thing. So that's free to join. That's on the website as well. You can find a sign up button for that. So give that a look. And that's it until Wednesday. We'll be back with Nutrition Nuggets on Wednesday. So don't forget to tune in to that as well. So in the meantime, have a great week, everyone. We'll talk to you soon.
Thanks for joining us today on My Wife the Dietitian. If you like what you heard, don't be shy. Leave us a comment or review, and be sure to share our podcast with your friends. If you'd like to hear more, hit that subscribe button. You can also follow us on our social media pages for updates, episode trailers, and other odds and ends. For more info and links on what we discussed on today's episode, check the show notes. We'll be back next week with another informative and fun-filled episode.